So the plus is right here on this motor. So that's where the red is going to go. And as we said, work holding is among the most important part. So making sure that I've got a good angle on this, it will be fairly easy for me to see everything that I'm doing while being able to manipulate the component and the iron. Now, because everything is so well tinned, I definitely won't have to be adding any solder, so that's why I can have the iron in one hand and the component in the other. There it is. You'll notice that I put the wires inside the terminals. I just find that that makes the strongest connection. So the iron was on the outside of the terminal, and we had the terminal coming off the motor, and the wire went on the inside. So same thing here, I'm going to put the iron on the outside and slide the wire into the inside. And you can see that I get it melting completely, get it positioned, and then I move the iron away a little bit quickly. That prevents it leaving a tail or a spike of solder. And then I continue to hold the component until I see that solder freeze. And then I know that it's that the joint is good and ready to let go. So again, I know that my red is this terminal, and what I always do is, if that's the terminal, then I'm going to bring the wire on, like if this is the right side terminal, I'm gonna have the wire on this side, I'm gonna have the iron on that side. So I know that the heat is transferring all the way through, it's melting the solder on the wire, and when I get the wire up against the terminal, it's all molten, and then I take the iron away and let that freeze, and that ends up being a good joint. So you can see, I'll go ahead and zoom in. Cameras we can zoom quite far. There we go, that's nice and in focus. And the fingers out of the way. So the wire is going to go inboard of that terminal. I'll put the iron on the outside. That's everything. And now let it freeze. Same thing here, I want the wire inboard of the terminal. The iron's going to be outside of that, so I'm going to touch that, put it in, put my iron away. And you can see what I did the first time, it didn't move fast enough, so it left that tail. Second time, I got it molten. I don't want to say snap the iron away, but move the iron away with some authority, and that leaves a nice, round, strong solder joint. And for our switch, as we discussed earlier, we'll want the power to come in our switch. We'll want the power from the battery to come in to the end, and then that way when the switch is in that right position, it's connecting this leg and kind of non-existent leg over here, and these are both cold and unattached to the battery. So this, and it is important to have this wire to the right of this leg so that it doesn't interfere with the switch retention features in the chassis. So, again, I'm going to, and when I can, I'll also, in something like this, I really want to avoid putting too much heat into the switch itself. So instead of heating the leg, I'm actually going to heat from the wire side. So it's melting the wire. I will make sure that it melts the leg, but I want to put as little heat into that component as I can because I don't want to melt anything inside the switch. So you could see the whole solder bulb melt, and the solder wicked towards the heat of the iron. And then I took the iron away while holding the component. Now, I have ended up with that a little bit high, and because this is right from the bot, I really want it all the way down on the switch. I want it as low the joint as possible. So you can see how much lower that joint is. Take off that bulb. Now what I do want to do is make sure that I haven't put too much heat in it. So if you put too much heat into one of these switches, then it won't click well. This one, you can hear, still clicks with full authority. So that switch is still quite good. And now I can put the wire under that. So this wire will go from the switch to the Malenki. And going through the Malenki through the soldering on the Malenki is kind of the challenging part. So I can see that I have one that's nice and thin and one that's kind of a big round bulb. I'm going to use the big round bulb here on the switch. Now this one can also be right of the leg because the switch retention features are just on the perimeter. So again, I'm going to have the wire to the right of the leg. I'm going to heat the wire first. Make sure that it melts everything on the switch on the leg, and then pull that iron away. So let's say that is another good joint. These are quite strong, and that's our motor connector soldered, and our switch soldered.